I wrote one op-ed supporting President Bush's nomination after he made it. I would not have made that nomination. But let me point out,
not what you say in the op-ed. That is not what you said in the op-ed.
Donald, please, I know it's hard not to interrupt.
But it's not what you said in the op-ed.
Breathe.
Lion Ted.
Breathe. You can do it. You can breathe. I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but just...
When they're done with the yoga, can I answer a question?
You cannot.
Well, the GOP candidates not letting each other speak much last night, as you saw, but their raucous debate getting lots of people talking today. And two editorials from the Wall Street Journal give some opposing perspectives as well as to what this all means and why we are here at this time. Peggy Noonan writing, quote, "The Republican Party is shattering. Stop Trump, unite behind him. No matter the outcome, nothing will ever be the same." In another editorial, Bobby Jindal, the governor of Louisiana and one-time presidential contestant or candidate, says President Obama created Donald Trump. He bears responsibility for him, saying, quote, "But the president truly doesn't get enough credit for creating one of the most polarizing forces in American politics today. No, not Hillary. That is more Bill's doing. Let's be honest. There would be no Donald Trump dominating the political scene today if it were not for President Obama." So are these critiques fair? Let's ask Kevin McCullough, talk show host with Salem Media Group, and Chuck Rocha, Democratic strategist and the founder of President of Solidarity Strategies. Great to have you both back with us today. Kevin, is Donald Trump a creation of Barack Obama?
Absolutely not. He is the creation of the guy that tried to give him the election yesterday, Mitt Romney. If Mitt Romney had won the 2012 election, if he had fought like he wanted to win the election, if he just had a chicken sandwich one day for lunch, he probably would have been president. And we wouldn't be having this conversation if he had stuck to the basics of what core conservatism is about. Right now, you're seeing a splintering because people are angry. They don't want to take it anymore. I think it's a little misguided, but it's certainly not. I mean, Obama had a role to play with it, but it's not primarily the focus on what the Democrats have done to the Republican Party. This is an all-out civil war inside what is supposed to be the conservative alternative.
Chuck, I know what you're thinking. Is that a barbecue chicken sandwich that he could have had and just won the campaign, or is it not? What do you think about this, though, that Jindal's saying this is a reaction to what Americans have really experienced over the last 8 years, which is why you're getting someone that when you put him next to the president looks like such a contrast?
Well, I've done campaigns for a long time, and what's happening is you're outside the box, and Kevin's exactly right. There's a phenomenon happening in the general public. We see it in our congressional races, in our governor's races, in our Senate races all over the country, that political consultants come to you and they say, you've got to run your campaign in this box. And what's happened with Trump, and actually with Bernie Sanders too, is they've got outside of that box and done things that nobody's ever tried to do. And with Donald Trump, said things that most campaign consultants like me would go crazy if their campaigns have said, but there's such an unease in the general population that they can get away with it because people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they're looking for an outlet. Interesting.
Peggy Noonan writes to that effect, saying essentially that supporters believe that Donald Trump is a junkyard dog and that they think his character is equal to the moment, Kevin. She also says that he's a divider of the Republican Party and yet an enlarger of the tent. Can he actually be both?
He's going to claim that he is, but I don't know that he is. I don't know that a lot of the people that have voted for him in the open primaries are going to return in the fall. If they are dedicated Democrats, for example, that may have crossed lines just to play a little game with the Republicans during the season, I think they're going to vote solid Hillary. The interesting thing about this, and I have sympathy for Noonan's feelings in her piece, but the really interesting thing about this is that I think Donald Trump, Trump supporters, and even some people like Noonan are misrepresenting his numbers. He's getting only pluralities, about 34% so far in the states that he's winning. You got to remember the general election's divided in three. You got Democrats, Independents, Republicans. He's about a ninth of the population attracted right now.
Chuck, I'm curious what you think about that. Do you think that GOP is making too big of a deal of Donald Trump? Because that was one of the questions I actually had for both of you, and we're going to finish on it here. Is that, okay, we see the whole thing playing out. Why don't, you know, I know there's some people that we, of course, pay to have their opinion, and we want to have their opinion, and we invite them on to have their opinion. But why doesn't everyone just sort of chill out and let the process sort of play out and see where it goes? We don't know where it's going to go yet.
I don't write books for a living. I don't make barbecue sandwiches for a living, but I run campaigns for a living. And I would tell you that everything I've thought about Donald Trump earlier has been wrong. But what you're going to know for sure is in the next couple of days, in the next 13 primaries, 9 of them are closed. And you have the winner-take-all in Ohio or Florida. And I will tell you this, you're going to know exactly where we are in about 3 weeks, and there will be either no stopping Donald Trump or you will see a glimmer of hope for one individual. I'm not sure who that will be, but it's all going to be over in 4 weeks, and that's going to be the bottom line.
So instead of blaming the president, Kevin, or saying that the entire establishment is going to shatter, why not just sit back and wait and see what happens?
Better yet, Jenna, if you're a committed Republican voter, get out and support the candidate of your choice. And just remember, no matter what the fatalistic conversation is by Trump supporters or party bosses, your vote makes a difference. Get out and work your neighborhood and vote your conscience.
Do you agree with that, Chuck?
I do, and I think that the more people that are involved, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, is a good thing. And with these close primaries coming up, we're going to see just how strong Donald Trump is in the Republican primary.
Which hasn't been very strong in closed primaries so far.
Of course, he would disagree,
right.
But we would expect that as well. Yeah, it's nice to have both of you on opposing ends, but you all agree on facial hair, which I like to point out, which I think is a really nice look for both of you. The goatees with different perspectives. Kevin and Chuck, great to see you as always. Thanks you so much.